we left off last with doing a data set. I'm not going to do a data set today. I'm going to do a frequency distribution, mean and standard deviation. So if you wanted to name this class, it would be mean and standard deviation of a frequency distribution. And instead of going into the book and all, I'm just going to look it up on Google and pull up the formulas so that way you can write them down, because I don't feel like looking up all that other stuff. So mean and standard deviation of frequency distribution and formulas. And there's two formulas, and I hope I can find it where it's at least decent. Hold on just a second. It's a nasty one. There it is. All right, so here is the, let me just view image. Oops, that's the wrong one. Hold on, I screwed that up. There we go. So write this down. I don't care. Of course, what's the variance and the standard deviation relationship? The standard deviation is the blank of the what? Okay, so you don't have to worry about the standard deviation formula. You just take the square root of the variance. So all you need to do is write down the mean and the variance, because once you get the variance, you just take the square root of it. All right, so write those down. You might want to, well, I'll tell you what I'll do is I will take my handy dandy snippet tool and I'll put it up so y'all can be on the, it would be on the, that's on the, you know, it's on the recording now, but I'll cut it out. Now, I don't think, I have been told by students that have had probability and statistics that they've never seen this before. And one of the reasons, I'll just call it, hey, trying to name it. So some of you have had probability and distribution. Have you seen, I mean, probability and statistics. Have you seen this before? Yes. You have? Okay. Did you do a lot of it? Wow. Well, I was told y'all didn't cover it in high school, so. Well, that's good. Some people say they covered it in high school, but they only covered it like one day and they never did see it again. So, I don't know. How did you do it? Did you do it by hand or did you do it in the calculator? You did both. Wow, where did you take it? What high school? And who's the teacher? Weaver. Miss Weaver? She teaches here at night. Yeah, I've had to evaluate her 2 or 3 times. She's a good teacher, real good teacher. Don't tell her I said that. She all get to be here all the time. There we go. All right. So, what is f of x, and what is f, and what is all these other things? All right. X is the midpoint. So write that down. X is the midpoint. Now, when you're talking about frequency distributions, what is on the left-hand side of frequency distribution? The classes, right? The midpoint of each class is called X. All right, so I'm going to pull up, while you're writing those down, I'm going to pull up a frequency distribution, and we're going to do, the only way to learn this is to just do examples. I'm not going to sit here and try to explain and derive these formulas, because that'd take half the class and it wouldn't teach y'all anything. So let's go ahead and I'll pull up a frequency distribution just off the cuff. Let's go with a frequency distribution. Frequency I love Google. Don't care about its politics, but I love Google. Okay, here we go. We'll look at this one. All right, write that one down. Of course, you don't have to write the tally marks. Just ignore that. This is class. Let's just say R's. I don't know what R's is. Might be ages. I don't know what RS is. I don't really care. We can call it anything you want to. Age. It doesn't have to be a class in college. It could be, it could be Alcoholics Anonymous or something. Group. It could be group. You got group on Tuesday, 6 o'clock. So it could be group. It could be anything. I don't really care about that. F is the frequency. Always remember, F is the frequency. It's the head count. So you want to put an F above the frequency students or whatever. Just put an F there. X is not calculated yet. All right. So the two things that you need to do the mean and the standard deviation, or at least the standard deviation, is the mean and the midpoint, or the frequency and the midpoint. Two things needed for mean and standard deviation are the frequency and the midpoint. And the frequency, of course, is F. So let's just add a column over here. Well, let's rewrite the column. Let's just do this. We call this X. We call this X. Now F, you don't have to do. It's 5, 8, 9. Now y'all see why I do this on the spreadsheet. I suck at doing all this on 4, 6, C, and then I spaces 2. Alright. Now the midpoint, find the midpoint of all these. Now, you know how to find the midpoint. It's also called what? Mid-range. Midpoint, mid-range. So find the mid-range of every one. It's an easy way to do it. Find the first one and then add your class width. Unless you want to calculate each one of those. What's the mid-range of 20 plus 30 divided by 2? What is that? 25. Now, what's the class width of each of these classes? What's 30 minus 10? 20. 10, so add 10. 35, 45, 55, 65, and 75. Unless you want to calculate each one. Now, take your formula for the mean and read it to yourself. Okay, let's switch back to it right quick. There's the mean. The summation of F, there's a dot right there, times X. The summation of F times X divided by the summation of F, which is also called what? N. It's also called frequency, but the summation of the frequencies is also called N. Blonde, brunettes, redheads. You got 10 blondes. Well, 5 blondes. You got 10 brunettes. You got 5 redheads. What's N? Huh? What's N? 5, 10, and 5. What's N? 20. You add them up. So what do you do to get N in this case? You add up all the F's. So go back, and you're going to have to do F times X, so you're going to have the midpoint. I need to turn that off. I forgot to. I was too busy being on my little perch with my little website. Sorry about that. So there's X, and there's, so I'm gonna pull up my handy dandy spreadsheet because I want to make everybody learn how to learn the spreadsheet. No, because I suck at doing this. So that's why I do spreadsheet. So I'm gonna rewrite as, now I'm gonna show you how I would do it if I started from scratch on the spreadsheet. If I started from scratch, I would bring in, let me get the problem. Let me see if I can get the problem first. Yep, snip. And new. That up. Distribution. So put it up in, I'm getting there, just bear with me. I'm not ready to pull it up in there. Okay, because it's transparency. Let me pull it up. Okay, so I'll just remember this, 20 to 30, and y'all have got those right there, so we'll just do it that way. $20 to $30, is that the first one? And then, what's the next one? That's not right, can't do that. But anyway, you can't, you have to have, it should be 31, okay. And then 41 to 50, and then 51 to 60, and then 61 to 70. How far does it go? And then 71 to 80. And then the frequency is 5, 8, 9, 10, 6, and 2. So what I do is I type all this in, and let me get rid of this. This should be 21 to 30. Yeah, that you can't have that. Yeah, so evidently somebody screwed up putting that, and you get those on the internet too. So just change it to this because that's better. That's a better frequency right there. That's a better. You can't have the upper class limit here be the lower class limit here. You can't do that. So we'll just change everything. So I'll put another right here. I'm going to insert. Well, I'll just go over here and make a new one, and I'll call it X. And then I'll say equals parentheses this number plus this number divided by 2. And I'll just copy that down. And that should be that. And then of course now you can just put F right here and just copy that over. And the good thing about this, if you have a frequency distribution with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 classes, all you have to do is type in the new numbers and it projects a answer. So it's up to you if you want to do it that way, but I'm not forcing you to. So, and we'll do this a couple of times on the spreadsheet before I show you how to do it on the calculator. It's more aggravating on the calculator though, I think. All right, so we need N. So I'm going to go down here and I'm going to put N is equal to, and then I'm going to say summation of all these numbers. There's N. And then I go over here and what do we need? F times what? F times X, because you read your, always go back to your formula. The formula will tell you what you need. F times X. So I'm going to take equals this number times this number and copy it down. Or not. Or just screw it all up. I suck. There. And pull that down. And what do we do with that? Well, you got to get the summation of f times x, which is that. So we know that the mean is equal to this number divided by what? 40. That's your mean. Now, what is the mean? It is the part, it is the number that represents no what? Variation here. Thank you for remembering that the other day when I showed you the blocks and chopping off the blocks and turning them, filling in the gaps. It's the number that represents no variation. So in this, you got classes and you got a head count, but you can still find the what? The average age in this class, whatever this is supposed to represent, is what? 48. Now, some of you have never done that before because it's a frequency distribution. Most of the time when it came to a frequency distribution, you just looked at it and said, okay, there's 5 blondes, 10 brunettes, 5 redheads. That's all you did with a frequency distribution. Now, of course, this is a quantitative distribution. You can't do a qualitative distribution. Find the midpoint of blonde. You can't do it. You can't calculate it. But with a quantitative distribution, you can find the mean and standard deviation. Okay? Now, if you put a number expressing the blondness of a person, you could do that. But then you'd be getting into all different variations between the different hues of people's hair. Okay? And then you'd just be you'd be reinventing what? Your parents did good. Some of y'all parents cheated you. If you don't know, reinvent the wheel, your parents are not doing their job. Okay? So 2 or 3 people in here, parents did their job. Miss Tarbert, did you know that one? No, he's still a loser though. All right. So what next? Look at your formula. Take your handy dandy formula. Where'd it go? There, I have to bring it up. I can't put formulas on the transparency, unfortunately. So there is the variance. So I want you to look at it, and then I want you to just sit there and stare at it and not do the problem because you don't understand it. What do we need? Well, let's take our handy dandy highlighter and look at what we need. We need n. Do we have n? Yes, we have n. So that takes care of that and that. What else do we need? We need f. Do we have f? Yes. Do we have x squared? Yes or no? No. So we need x squared. And do we have f times x? So all we need to fulfill this formula is to take the x column and what? Square it. So do that. Make another column and put at the top of it x squared. So I'm going to go to my handy dandy spreadsheet and I'm going to put in, I'm just going to go over here because I don't want to mess up my numbers. And that's the biggest problem that students have when they do these problems is they pick the wrong number. So that's why I don't want to do it in here. I want to go over here and make a new column. And of course, bring the F over. and that's equal to that number, and bring that down, and then x squared is equal to, make sure you pick the right one, raised to the second power and of course we need the summation of both. So there's the summation of both. Now it's going to be a BA number. And it's going to have to be a BA number because you got another BA number coming right behind it with f times x squared, or f times x quantity squared. So you're going to have two BA numbers. Who's got a question? Yes, ma'am.
So when you find the variance, what number that you could plug in? Would the question ask specifically what class?
It'll ask the variance. It'll just say, what is the variance? The variance of the whole frequency distribution. That's what you're finding. Not many times will it say, there is a few questions on the test or the homework that says find the variance, but I usually don't ask those. I want the standard deviation because that's one of the two most important numbers, the mean and standard deviation. So most of the time they're going to ask for the mean and standard deviation. But sometimes they do ask for the variance, and that would be that first number before you take the square root of it. Does that answer your question?
No.
Nice.
It's a, I don't know how to answer.
Okay.
But the frequency, I'm confused on which number they should plug into the formula. Because there's the whole list of like that's the 5, 8, 9, 6, and 2.
Okay. It doesn't really ask, if you look at the formula, it really doesn't ask for F. What does it ask for? Let's take our handy dandy green highlighter. It asks for what? Summations. So you hardly ever use just one F. Okay, like blondes is 5. You don't use that 5. You use the 5 plus the 20, well, I meant plus the 10 plus the 5. You got to add them all up. No. Well, yeah, the summation of F is equal to N. Just like I told you a while ago. 5 blondes, 10 brunettes, 5 redheads. What's N? 20. You add up 5. So the summation of F is what you use. You don't use each F.
So what's the difference in the deviation between the N and the summations of that just
Now, what you're finding is the mean of the ages. See? Okay? This is head count. That right there is head count. This right here is the ages. You're not finding the mean of the frequency. You're finding the mean of the what? The ages. Which is hard to do because you got a spread here. You got a spread of 10, 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 spread of 10. You're finding the mean of those ages. And you're using the frequency, the summation of the frequency to do that. Does that answer your question? Yes. It's not going to ask for each individualized F. No. Yeah. No. It's going to ask for, yeah. Most of these, if you look at the formula, most of these components of the formula are what? Summations. Now these aren't. But what is N? A summation of F. So the whole problem, the whole formula is built on not each one, but the what? The summation. Because if you think about it, you can't deal with a frequency distribution because it's all what? It's broken up into classes. And classes are not computable. Whereas before with test scores, what are test scores? They're computable. They're each one. They're not a spread. In other words, 87, 88, 92, 95, 96. That's it. They're data. You take that data and you what? You compute. Over here you got, this is a tiger. This is a robot. you got a robot over here. It doesn't even compare to the tiger. Data is the tiger, and you got a frequency distribution that's not computable. So you put, I quit, cannot do it. No, you find a way to compute it. And that's what they've done. They've taken the summation of everything and figured out a way to find, and what they did is I'm talking about all the people that brought up, the derived statistics or statistics, whatever you want to call it. The professors back then that did it, I don't know when statistics was born, but what they did is they took this data and they took the actual data and they found the mean and standard deviation. Then they took the frequency distribution and they finagled with it and finagled with it and finagled with it until they got the same numbers. And when they got the same numbers as the data, that's when they said, okay, this is the formula. And that's what they did. Okay? So, now let's look at the formula again. What am I going to do? Well, that n is out, that n, and make sure you do this. Put brackets around this guy right here. They forget to do that, and it leads students to believe that this n is multiplied by fx squared minus f of x quantity squared. And it's not. The n is multiplied by the what? The summation of f times x squared. Now, I'm going to take my handy dandy highlighter. I wish I could bring this over onto the, I can't. Hold on. Nope. Bear with me a second. I'm going to make this smaller. There we go. Of course, it makes things disappear. That's not good. I do all these for y'all. Y'all are so lucky. And I can't make that go any further. So I'm going to have to make this go like that. And this down. The old Windows, you can split screen. I don't know if you can still split screen or not, but I think you can, but you have to give it a little bit. Okay. So here's all our numbers right here. And it says, I'm going to take my handy dandy highlighter. I'm going to color it aqua color. And I want to highlight this right here. You don't have to highlight it because it'll just mess up your notes. But that, what is that? F times x squared, and then what? The summation of f times x squared. F times x squared. F times x squared. Well, here's the summation of f times x squared right here. Well, we gotta take these two numbers and what? Put it right here. Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll go down here and I'm gonna make me a plug and chug of the formula so you'll see where to put everything. So I'm just gonna put variance right here. And I'm gonna say, okay, we've got to take n. So that's equal to 40. I'm gonna put it right there. And then I'm gonna put right here, I'm gonna put, I can't use those parentheses up there. I'm just going to put the number here, and that's going to be, well, let's see if I can, and put F40, no, it's not going to do it, equals 40 times that number right there. Okay? And then I'm going to minus, I'm going to put minus here, although I put a minus sign, it won't either do something else, so I'm going to put minus. And then what is this? The summation of f times x. And what am I doing to the summation of f times x? All right. Summation of f times x is right here. So that's 1920. But what am I going to do to 1920? I'm going to square it. Now, you could do this. I'll show you a trick, and you don't have to do it. You can have another column right here called f times what? X squared, Hubert. And go here, there, times there. And copy that down. And then move this over. Okay. And f times x squared summation, make sure that's right. I think it's off the small. Hold on a second. $99,910. I think I've got that wrong. That's not supposed to be there. Yeah, that's supposed to be this, right? I don't know what happened there. Okay? Yeah, we did, right here. Squared, right here. I must have squared it twice. I don't know what I did. Over n times what? N times what? Thank you for the interaction, one person out of 30. Thank you. All right, so there's where you plug everything in. Now look at it. N times, okay, I know what I did. I squared it twice. It's supposed to be this number right here. Sorry. Now, the first thing y'all supposed to say right now is, I'm so confused. That's what you're supposed to say. So let's say it all together on 3. 1, 2, 3.
I'm so confused.
Okay, everybody got it out of your system? There. Now, what do you do when you get confused? You sit there and stare at it for 15 minutes. No, you go back to the directions. You go back right here and look. So let's look. Oops, don't delete it, but there. Don't use the eraser because it'll delete it. So let's look. There's n. There's n. This is the summation of f times x squared. The summation, there's summation of f times what? X squared. Go back to the formula. Don't sit there and stare at the number and go, I don't know where that came from. I don't know, I'm confused. Go back to the formula and read the formula. It's kind of like guys don't do. What do guys don't do when you go on a trip? Guys never do this. They don't ask for the directions because they know everything. Okay? They know where everything is. You done passed the dadgum QT with the white truck out in front 5 times. All right? But the guy knows where he is. Do you need to stop and ask? No, I know where I'm at. Okay, just wait for checkout time. Check-in time. You're lost. All right? Anyway, you don't do that anymore because of what? GPS. But GPS can run you into a brick wall if you don't watch it. Anyway, go back to the directions. Now, what does this say? The summation of f times x, what? Quantity squared. Now, f times x squared and f times x quantity squared is a cat and a tiger. They're 2 different what? 2 different animals. So some of you may be confused because you're saying, well, f times x squared is the same as f times x quantity squared. No, you don't know your math. Be quiet. Because it's not the same thing. This is going to be a BA number. This has got to be a BA number because this is being taken away from it, and you can't take the square root of a what? Negative number. So that first number is going to have to be bigger than the second number. Period. And then the bottom is what? N times what? N minus 1. So to make it look a little prettier, and I am OCD when it comes to alignment. I like everything to be in the center. There. I can't stand things not being in the center. I'm weird. Okay. So now I'm going to go down here. I'm going to do the variance. I'm doing this step by step for y'all, so y'all can let it sink in. And I take 40 and I multiply it by what? The 99,910, Hubert. Thank you, one person. Minus, I want to start talking, equals this number raised to the what? Raised to the second power. Hey, y'all call it. Now look, these two numbers are close, but what? This one is what? How do you know if you screwed up something? Well, if that don't come out to be bigger, a little bit bigger than the second number, or the first number is 3,996,400, and then the second number is 2, you know something is what? You ever work on a problem and you know something's not right? That's when you see a 2 there and a 3 million, then chances are something's wrong. And over this number times what? Good job. Love this interaction. It's making the class a whole lot better. Person in his back one. Oh, we people who should have. I don't think we're going to win class. You get out of it what you what? Put into it. If you're in an extremely boring class, that means you are what? You're boring. You're not making the class better. Or the teacher sucks, one of the two. So if the teacher wants interaction, then it's better to make it interactive. Not interactive talking about football all the time. That's the first 15 minutes of class. But the rest of the class, you talk about math. Okay? All right, so that number minus what? That number. Over 1560. And now you have your variance. The variance is equal to this number divided by this number. 198. Do we care? No, we don't care about the variance. All we care about is the what? Standard deviation. Appreciate the interaction. Is equal to the square root of 200. It's going to be around 40, right? 40 times 40 is 200? Or 40, no, I'm sorry. It's 60. Right. Okay, shut up, you. All right, 2 times square root of 100. Okay, I'll just do it by hand. Raised to the 0.5 power. 14.09. 14. Now, take the mean and standard deviation and draw the bell curve. Yes, ma'am.
So the variance of x squared, the total was
Let me move this up a little bit. See if I can move this up. I don't know if I can or not.
the total was 17,895.
The summation of f times x squared was 9910.
No, the x.
Yeah, the summation was 1705. So if you wanted this number right there, you would multiply f times x and then f times x squared and add those up, and you get that number right there, which is that number right there. So go ahead, and if you got a question, go ahead and try it and work it and see if you get the same number. That's what I did right here. Where did I multiply it by 40 twice? No. The n is out front of the summation. So that means whatever the summation is, you're going to take the n and multiply it. So you only do n one time, right here. That's why it's outside the summation. So first of all, you can take f times x squared, get that summation. No, n is 30. I don't know what you're asking. I'm trying. Remember, this is n. Okay? N is a summation of f. What you're trying to do is you're trying to compare this to each one of these. You can't do that. This is a summation of f. And each one of these is f. Okay. Yes. That's what this means right here. The summation of, the summation of f times x squared. You have to multiply this guy times this guy to get this guy. And then you add them up. There's 2 or 3 different ways you could do it, because multiplication is what? Starts with a C. Commutative, meaning 2 times 3 is the same as 3 times 2. So you can do it several different ways, you'll still get the same answer. Okay. All right, who else got another question? I know, it's boring, I know. All right, let's change the problem. Let's change this. Let's say, I have to think about this for a second. Let's go from 21 to 35, and from 36 to 40, and from 41 to 45, and from 46 to 50, and from 51, 50, hold on a second, I'll figure it out in a minute, just hold on, 56 to 60. Now let me check class widths, 21 to 36, oh, you're right, it needs to be 26, thank you. That's what you probably say, or 25. I'm making this up, so I'm doing it as I go, leave me alone. 26 to 30, 31 to 35, 36 to 40, 41, 45, and 46 to 50. And now I'll check class widths. What's 21 from 26? 5. What's 25 from 30? 5. So that should be right. 31 to 36 is 5. 41 to 46. 36 to 41. Yeah. All right. So go to work. And let's change this. Let's change this 3, 6, 9, 10, 3, 2. I get to work. Find the mean and standard deviations. You got a formula, you got a calculator, and you got the data to do it. Start doing those columns. So who does Clemson play this week? Okay, high school. And who does Georgia play? It's about time, I guess, since they don't play a high school the first game, they'll play a high school the second game. North Dallas Community University, something like that. Yeah, Tri-County. So that means South Carolina is probably playing a cupcake team too. Maple State Junior College.
South Carolina played Mississippi State.
Oh.
They lost. Mississippi State lost to South Alabama.
You are kidding. So pretty much this is a boring weekend as far as area colleges. So we'll have to turn to the SEC and let's see who Alabama just destroys this weekend.
Nobody plays anybody this weekend. They all play small.
They all play cupcakes.
Because the first week was so good, this second week they can't.
I think it ought to be outlawed. No cupcake teams play big teams.
Yeah, Alabama plays the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers.
You're making that up.
No.
Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. That sounds like some kind of appetizer. Y'all realize if Auburn had another minute, they could have won that game? And did you also realize that Clemson pretty much wanted Auburn to win, but Auburn didn't have enough gumption to win. Auburn would have been in the top 20. Florida State probably, is Florida State, did they jump over Clemson?
There is Alabama, Clemson, Florida State.
How close is Florida State to Clemson though, I wonder? I bet they got a lot of votes since Auburn was unranked. I bet Florida State almost jumped them. All depend on the votes.
Houston went like 6.
They should. I mean, they beat Oklahoma, and Oklahoma was like 4th, wasn't it, or 5th? Are you a Pittsburgh Steelers fan? I was a Pittsburgh Steelers fan when I was a kid. Terry Bradshaw was quarterback, and they were just the meanest team there was. They were just ultra mean. I love Steelers. My team is the Atlanta Falcons. I love Atlanta. I've always loved the Falcons, even though they suck. They suck in baseball. And so, well, they choke in baseball, and they pretty much choke in football too. They get to the playoffs and win the playoffs, and then they lose the Super Bowl, just like Atlanta loses the whole series. Huh? They were on a winning streak for like 9 years, but they choked every single time. Yeah. I'm not a big follower of baseball. My dad, he loved baseball. He watched he had one of those channels where you get to see the Atlanta Braves every single time they play. Oh gosh. When the Braves played and I went down to his house, I just opened the door and close it, turn around and go back to my house. Because I just can't watch baseball. It's just too tedious. I can't watch it. I'll shut up and tell you. You will have a couple of these probably on the test. And some of y'all are hammy, so just calm down, okay? Do you have a deadline on your homework? No, so don't worry about it. Now, are we getting toward the end of chapter 3? Yes. We've got z-scores to cover, and I want to cover the empirical rule a little bit more, and that's it. So we're talking probably a test, hammiers, probably next week sometime. So if there's a test coming up next week, what does that mean with your homework? It's going to be having a deadline on it pretty soon. So those people that haven't got registered onto My Lab Plus, yeah, they're probably still. Huh?
Chapter 3 is enough.
You're kidding.
I mean, maybe.
I thought I fixed it. You go ahead and look while y'all are working.
I didn't look.
Yes. Okay, shh. What'd you say? I got a question. No, you're talking about the summation is just adding them all up. No. Now if you're looking for the mean, you take the summation of f times x and you divide by n. It's kind of like the mean when you do test scores. You add them up and divide by how many there are. So let's look at, I'm probably Okay, y'all supposed to be working. We done talked about football, so y'all supposed to be working. Let's see. And yes, those of you that are about spreadsheets, if you're comfortable with working on a spreadsheet, I don't have no problem with that if you do it during the test. I'd probably suggest that you maybe Well, I'll show you when we do a homework problem, because you can actually open up the data in the spreadsheet and it'll save you the time of what? Typing it in. I'll show you in just a minute. Yes, sir. Okay. Then you're going to have a problem. You're going to have to call the company and tell them to reactivate you and then type in your access code. Because what happens after the 14, listen up everybody, if you had the 14-day trial period and you haven't typed in an access code during the 14 days, MyLabs Plus will temporarily deactivate you. So if you go in and try to type in the access code, it's probably not going to let you do it. Is it letting you do it? Okay. 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 The access code comes with your book, or you buy it in the bookstore, or you get it online. And you need to contact them and say, look, I need to buy an access code. Are you going to buy it online, or you got it with your book, or what? Okay. Well, then you need to tell them, as soon as you get the book, you need to call the 1-800 number I gave y'all, 1-800-677-6337, and say, I just bought my book. I need my 14-day trial period is up. I need you to reactivate me or make sure that my access code will work. Because they do something when your 14-day trial period kind of pushes you to the side, and when you log in, it doesn't ask you for the access code. So you have to get them to reinstate you or whatever they do. Okay? Now, that's what I've been told in the past. Now, the way you can check, have you logged on recently? Okay. What did it say when you logged on? Did it give you a place to put in your access code? Okay. Try it. When you get your access code, go back and log on. Hit print access code or put in access code. And you put it in. If it doesn't take it, then you need to call them and tell them to reactivate you. Okay? Oh, I'm not enrolled in any courses. So what does that mean? I can quit? What the heck? It's a conspiracy. And we all know whose fault it is. Whose fault is it? There you go. Y'all are learning. Y'all are learning. When something don't go your way, blame it on somebody else.
Yeah, chapter 3 isn't on the homework.
Well, I'm fixing to change that. And
While we're talking about homework, I sent you a handy email because I sent you a handy email because I completed all the sections that were up, and I knew it wasn't on the day yet, but it was like one section that automatically gave me a 0, and I never attempted.
don't worry about that, because that's because I probably took it out. I don't know. There is 3.2.
It was,
That was the example for you.
Okay, all right, then I'll fix that. All right. And I got 9 minutes, don't I? What time is it? I got 4 minutes, so some of y'all that are going into, y'all need to chill. All right, assignment manager, I need to fix this for y'all, so some of y'all are chomping at the bit. All right, 3.1, 3.2, 3.4, 3.5. And what's today? Okay, I'll just do this. And do this. So, you should have an open date, which will be closing pretty soon. Yeah. And after today's class, you should be working on chapter 3 homework. Now, the reason I did that, the reason I didn't put chapter 3 up is I wanted to start covering it before some of y'all got all hammy and taking it and doing it the wrong way and whatever. So that's why I wanted to do it. Anyway, I'll shut up. Chances are we're talking about a test next week. I want to cover, what day is today? Monday, I want to cover Z-scores and five number summary. That's it. Z-scores and 5-number summary, and then y'all are ready for the test. Okay, let me get the roll. Oh, the answer to your question for those, there's the standard deviation is 6.6, and the mean is 34.5. The standard deviation is 6.55. And let me pull up the handy dandy. Y'all know all y'all were here Monday? I did. I said, no, you think all of us are here? Okay, let's check to make sure, because I don't feel like having the bureaucrats call me. Y'all can sit down. I got 1 minute.